What's up, guys? We are live, and I'll tell you, Tim is energized and fired up as always. But real quick, I want to welcome everybody who's watching, who's going to watch the replay. I'm excited for today's call, mainly because the value it's going to add. And really, we're going to get deep onto some topics that I think Tim has mastered. So welcome all you guys that are watching from all around the world, where we interview really elite, successful entrepreneurs, CEOs, and game changers every single month. People that I have massive respect for, and those not just making a massive income, but those making a massive difference and really changing the game in terms of impact and legacy and success. So today we have self-made millionaire, trader, investor, entrepreneur, philanthropist Tim Sykes, who turned $12,000 of his bar mitzvah money into, what is it now, Tim, 5 million or more?
Close, 4.6 million. But
4.6 million while visiting. Yeah, I love it, man. So Tim, last interview was super fun. I mean, you had a robe on. You're still in Tokyo, but I'm excited to dive in, man, and really talk. There's a couple things I really want to dive into, and instead of talking about a lot, I want to dive deeper into a couple things: social media and marketing, and really how to go from the 6 to 7 and 7 to 8 figures, the mindset, the perspective, the team behind it, and then how your perspective of money has changed these last couple years. And then honestly, I just want to have a great conversation with you, man. So how's everything going?
Bring it on. Last time I was in Kyoto, now I'm in Tokyo.
Okay, got it.
But I found a spot that has good Wi-Fi. I cut my hand. I'm trying to learn to be a sushi chef, but I had the biggest winner in the stock market today. The stock was up 50% even after I sold. I sold too soon. So I'm pulling all-nighters. It's crazy. I love it.
It's 7 a.m., right?
Roughly, yeah, 7:02.
And you're fired up, man. I mean, let's talk about this. So for the 0.0001% of people who don't follow you, don't know you, that have been under a rock, give us a quick, simple background of who Tim Sykes is and how you became to be where you are now.
Sure. I've been a stock trader now for nearly 20 years. I got started in high school. I was a tennis player. I wanted to be number one, so I trained too much, but I'm Jewish and my weak Jewish body gave out. So I had surgery on my arm. My dad now calls it the $1 million injury. My parents, in their infinite wisdom, gave me control of my bar mitzvah gift money, roughly 12 grand. They thought that I would lose it all. They thought that it would be a good lesson to learn the value of $1 in the stock market. Instead, by the end of senior year of high school, I turned the 12,000 into over 100,000. And then before I graduated college, it was nearly 2 million. So I screwed up all their plans, never got a job, never grew up, remaining this boy child, man child all my life because I'm rich and now I can do what I want. And more important than the money, I have self-sufficiency. Again, today I made a good trade. I'm still trading, but I'm trading with a small account now in order to teach. I'm actually a better teacher. So I have 7,500 students now worldwide in over 80 countries. And I've created 3 millionaires from scratch. And I'm just going to keep teaching, keep trading. And now I've also created a charity, and we just donated $1 million to Pencils of Promise, which is the best charity in the world.
Love it, man. And I'll tell you, what I really respect about you, a couple things, and not to toot your own horn, but obviously you know you're a badass. But one is you've really built, you're self-made, obviously you have a team, but you've built this on your terms while living a lifestyle of fulfillment, joy, travel, peace of mind. And you've given up the need to be liked by people. There's people, I mean, everywhere there's haters, not just you, but everywhere. There's haters there.
This interview is over.
Tim, people are talking crap. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm out of here.
You've gave up the need to be liked. You don't care. And I love that attitude. He's gone. We out, guys.
No, I mean, you have to make yourself happy. And I know that sounds selfish, but as we were talking in the last interview, if you're on an airplane and they tell you like the safety preparations, you put your mask on first, then you help others. Same thing in life. If you're always living for somebody else, if you're trying to make your parents happy, if you're trying to live vicariously through somebody else, you're not going to make yourself happy. And I've done this before. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. Just because I made a lot of money doesn't mean that I've always been happy. It took me a long, long time to realize that money does not buy happiness. I've spent a lot of money and I've tried. And what makes me happiest is, my work, my teaching, my charity, giving back, and traveling. So I do spend money on myself, and I do appreciate the freedom. I like working on the opposite side of the world. It's kind of crazy. But you have to find what makes you happy. And it's not about what other people care about or think is going to make you happy. So focus on you. Be selfish a little bit.
You're in a good state, man. I love it. You're fired up, making money, traveling.
I'm in Japan, baby. This is my dream world, okay? I love traveling. I love being able to do this from anywhere. It's not just about the $2,000 that I made roughly today. It's about the fact that you can do this from anywhere. We're in a unique time in history. Not enough people are taking advantage of it. The internet has just begun. The internet is barely old enough to drink legally, okay? And you think about what are the apps that are popular, what's really hot right now. We're like freaking caveman drawing on caves like, oh, look at the little like button. Or like we're drawing little filters and crap. Like that's what cavemen were doing millions of years ago. And that's where we are with the internet. So think about what the internet is going to come over the next few decades and centuries. And even though technology will eventually wipe us out, we can still have a lot of fun in the meantime.
I'll tell you, man, and you're someone that's really capitalizing. So I want to talk about really 3 simple things. 1, social media, your strategy, really how to build it the right way, how to not just add value, but how to create raving fans and monetize. Also, the mindset shift people have to make to go from 6 to 7 and the difference between 7 and 8 figures. And then how your perspective of money has changed because, I mean, you're on fire. You're fired up. You have peace of mind. You understand your purpose now. And it only is right. I don't know about you, but for me, and I think it's the same with you, Tim, I get more fulfillment and joy sharing my experiences, sharing my failures, sharing my perspective shifts with the people that I inspire and impact. So I'm excited to get your take on how your shift on money has changed so we can help thousands, if not millions of young entrepreneurs that really want to be in a similar place that you are in a couple of years. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah, so I grew up in a middle-class background. You know, I wanted fancy cars. I had posters of like a Lamborghini and a Ferrari up on my wall when I was younger. Now they're in my driveway and they're boring as shit. It's kind of crazy. Once you actually get what you dream of, then it's like, okay, this is cool. I still drive it, but I don't like driving fast. I like driving extra slow so that when people are taking photos of me, they can take photos that are not blurry. So I have to drive extra slow. That's just consideration. But you know, you have to have fun. You have to try and get what you've always wanted, but then create new goals for yourself and create new challenges. And you know, when I started my charity, okay, I'm going to donate a little bit. I donated to Make-A-Wish. I donated to Boys and Girls Club. But then I really fused charity with education. And now we're building schools. I have 35 schools that are built or in development around the world. And I have kind of a new project. I don't even know if this was alive last time we talked. In Cambodia, I'm building a soccer stadium. And it's only going to be for students who do well in school. It's like Revenge of the Nerds. We're not going to let the jocks play. So it's going to be this magnificent stadium, and the worst soccer players, football players, are going to play in it. And we're going to try and change the whole world with this soccer stadium. I don't know if it's going to work, but it's worth a shot. So that's what makes me happy. My Lambo, my Ferrari, it still does best on social media. You know, the charity stuff are my least liked. But for me, social media is not, again, just about what my followers like. I want to make myself happy. I want to give a little something to the followers. And there's nothing wrong with liking Lambos or Ferraris. You know, I had this guy email me the other day. He's like, Tim, I saw you posted 2 videos of your charity and your Lambo. I feel bad that I was more inspired by the Lambo. Don't feel bad. Whatever inspires you. But I'll tell you, once you do get that Lamborghini, your opinion will change. All of my millionaire students are very humble. And once you make that kind of money, once you have that freedom, you're a changed person. But get there and you'll see.
Oh, it's huge. And I think obviously this can cut a lot of people's happiness curve, learning curves in half, because a lot of people think, well, I have to make the millions to realize it's not about money. No, if you can really understand this at a younger age, it can really help you have a more fulfilling and happy life, which is what you're saying. So let's talk social media, Tim, because you've done it, I mean, for years now, but you've obviously adapted, adjusted, tested. I want to talk about how to strategically maximize social media and not just monitoring and adding value, but also monetizing as well and creating some loyal followers. If you were talking to the people you inspire or your team or your students, and they want to learn how to build a social media following or an online influence, can you maybe take us through a couple steps on what they should take if someone's not new to social media, but if they're not used to posting consistently and understand how valuable it is?
Yeah, so part of the reason why I'm wearing this hat, I knew we were going to be talking about it. The press has called me the wolf of Instagram because I trade penny stocks and I'm big on Instagram. I'm actually just using another person's strategy. If you go to wolfmillionaire.com, that's a good free guide to learning how to grow your Instagram. But you really need to rotate everything. You need to try every social network, get on Facebook, get on Instagram, get on YouTube, get on Snapchat, get on Pinterest, get on everything and test it out. The beauty of social media is that this is one giant science experiment. You can look at the engagement, you can look at the likes, you can look at the comments, but I would encourage you not to just do everything for the most comments and the most engagement. Some of the best posts that I have don't really get liked that much, again, like my charity stuff, but some people might email me and be like, wow, that post really spoke to me. So use social media. Don't just look at the numbers and think about what can you do to send a message? What can you do to show your expertise? Like if you're, I don't know, an ant collector and you show off, something extraordinary, it might not be that cool in the big scheme of things, but in your little community, it might be very big. So this morning when I made $2,000, I showed off the stock trade. Most of my social media has no idea. They just want to see vacation pics. They want to see pics of my car. But I'm going to show them every now and then the strategy that I've used to get these things. So you mix it up. And so I would encourage people to get on the social media and then see what their audience likes and see what they like. Go in with a plan. Be like, okay, I'm going to share some stuff, maybe my food. I know most people just share their food and they share normal stuff. Don't be normal, okay? Stop sharing normal stuff. Social media is so crowded. You have to shout. You have to post something extraordinary. Don't just post a picture of a $30,000 watch. Post a video where you throw the $30,000 watch. Okay? I do that all the time. You can do a Google search, Timothy Sykes throws Rolex. And that's what really works on social media. I don't give a shit about that. I don't even know how to work it. If you ask me what time it is, I check my iPhone. So try and take it to the next level. Be creative and understand that social media can also be kind of like a little corny. And it's okay to be corny. That's the beauty of this industry and community right now. You don't have to do everything well produced. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on some videographer or something. The stuff that actually goes viral, it's very homemade. Just be authentic. Don't say something that you don't believe in entirely. It's okay to talk about your business and talk about the products that you sell, but don't totally sell out because you'll lose followers, you'll lose interest, and you'll be dissatisfied at the end.
Huge. I mean, I hope people really conceptualize that because that's a huge key that you've been doing is you have to make sure you stay authentic and you fully believe in what you're posting. And of course, you have to be loyal when you don't have as many followers. So Tim, one of your posts, you just posted the video, almost 30,000 views. You have almost 300 comments. You're crushing it. But can you talk about staying loyal when you didn't get 30,000 views? People can say, oh, Tim's consistent because he's crushing it. Did you always have 30,000 views per video? Please share with people.
So my business is all homemade. My mom and dad work for me, it's a family business and we started off very slow. Again, social media, you can build your own empire. You get to choose. This is like freaking Sim City. You can build your own civilization here and you get to choose what you want to show on social media. So you're the CEO, you're the king of your little civilization. So think about that. There's a great responsibility. And what can you do to grow your little kingdom or your little city? Watch Game of Thrones. Look at all the maneuvering that they do. In social media, to get bigger, obviously it's helpful when you know an influencer and they tag you or whatever, but most people don't know influencers. You don't have enough money to pay an influencer. So you need to post amazing content and you need to show why you're different. The reason why I got into teaching in the first place is because I teach people how to trade penny stocks. Before me, everyone thought that penny stocks were just a scam and that there was no way to make money on it. I knew, because my own personal experience, that there was. So I had a very specific mission. Social media helps me in that mission in multiple ways. A, I want to show off the beautiful lifestyle that I have because of the strategy. Two, I need to inspire my students to actually study hard. Studying is boring. Most people just want hot picks. So I need to get it through to their heads that they need to put in countless hours of research. I have 5,000 video lessons in my library. But what's going to make you want to watch that? Oh, wait a minute. If you see a picture of my Lamborghini and you see, hey, I got that Lamborghini because I studied, and because I studied, I got that money. So you have to kind of leave breadcrumbs and let people figure it out for themselves. I didn't realize this at first. When I first started making video lessons, I made a 45-minute video lesson dissecting a stock, and I was so proud of it, and it got 6 views. And then I was like, you know what? Let me change the thumbnail to my Lamborghini instead of a stock chart. And it got 4 times the number of views, 5 times the amount of time people watched it too, because of the stupid thumbnail on the front of it. So you do what it takes to inspire your audience, to encourage your audience, and to kind of give them subliminal messages. None of my millionaire students are going to be millionaires unless they study and unless I can get them to study. And I need millionaire students because testimonials sell. No matter what brand or what product or what industry, you need testimonials. You need other people saying, wow, this person is great in their business. Their service, their product has helped me a ton. So what can you do to get testimonials to post on social media? That should be the question that you should be asking yourself no matter what business you're in.
And you're getting real results for real people that have real families. So I saw you on Steve Harvey, and he didn't have just you inspiring. By the way, it was cool to see Steve Harvey at the end get super emotional about really wanting to inspire. So you definitely shifted his mindset, which is amazing. I'd recommend watching the interview. But he didn't just have you, he had your students. So it's really key to create testimonials, not just like in words and in writing, but literally have human testimonials as well, which you've really maximized, because that's better than you talking about your success, saying, hey, they actually succeeded as well. So that's huge.
You need multiple media. Like, I'm so sick of people saying, oh, just get everything in text or get everything in photo. I have text, I have photos, I have video. I want to chop it up and dissect it many different ways. Sometimes people respond to like a paragraph written out in text and they read it. Sometimes, they respond to video. Sometimes they respond to a photo. You don't know what they're going to respond to. So get as much content as possible and try and change it. If somebody does give you, let's say, a testimonial on video, okay, so use the video on Instagram, write the text, include it in a blog post, also embed the Instagram. Your blog should be number one. All the social media are like different arms of an octopus, and everything should lead back to your website and your blog. And you can embed all the social media aside from Snapchat. And so you can make like a collage. I just made a blog post on my blog, timothysykes.com, just 5 minutes before this started, because I'm pulling an all-nighter. With the stock trade that I had, I showed off the video that I talked about it the night before it was actually a good trade. So people can see it timestamped on YouTube. I embedded that. Then I also embedded a few tweets where I real-time alerted the stock so you can see. So I'm leaving little social media breadcrumbs everywhere, and I'm pulling them all together in a blog post so that everyone can see that this is real. It's your number one job to prove that you're real. There's so much BS and so many fakers. If you can prove that you're real, everyone will come to you. And it's even better, frankly, when people don't believe you at first. My first millionaire student thought I was full of BS. There's a blog post that's called Timothy Sykes is full of BS. He later became my first millionaire student. So if you can turn your haters and your critics into fans, into customers, into testimonials, that proves you can reach anybody. I'm not a fan of people who say, oh, you should ignore your critics, you should ignore your haters. I say, bring it on, motherfuckers. I want all of the hate, because I can take it. That's the beauty of being real.
So what I'm getting at is you're constantly adapting and adjusting and maneuvering. There's not a specific, here's the 7 steps to maximizing social media. You're like adapt, adjust, try things, see what your audience likes, be yourself, be authentic. I think people are looking for too much of an exact answer when success isn't like that. Success, there's not an exact answer.
It's an art form, and you have to think of yourself as kind of like the scientist in social media and in the stock market. You have to test, refine, optimize. You might find a strategy that works in the stock market. Make as much as you can for as long as you can. But patterns change in the stock market. For a while, Snapchat was all the rage for me in social media, and so was Instagram. Now both of them have kind of declined. Snapchat especially, since Instagram stories have come out. Now, guess what? For me, Twitter is the best social media. I know it's the slowest growing, but it also is kind of like the thinking person's social media. Like, you have to read. Most people on Snapchat can't even read. They just want little filters with little leopard ears and crap like that. So that's not my customer. So you
I didn't know you had a Snapchat. Do you have one?
Listen, I have Snapchat. If you want to, I've never done a filter. I never will. I don't care. I don't have time for that shit. I'm too busy teaching and trading. So it depends on your business. If you sell those little leopard ears and you sell those little princess crowns, fantastic. That's a booming business. You'll probably get bought out by DJ Khaled, whatever. That's not me. So you have to find what works for you, what you teach, what product you sell, what your audience is, and then attack. And if there's somebody who's a leader in your industry and you see that they're wrong about anything, you attack them and you show that. You can literally get to the top of your industry by calling out the existing leaders, because existing leaders are not all knowing. They make mistakes. A lot of the existing leaders use interns So they make a lot of mistakes. I do everything myself. I'm kind of crazy.
Tim, can you see me? Dude, this is the best filter ever on Snapchat.
That doesn't even look like a filter. That just looks how I feel right now. So that's fantastic.
So I want to talk about your hustle and your grind. People see the Lamborghinis. They see you obviously addressing your haters and making millions. You hustle. You're pulling an all-nighter. Talk about how you're messaging everyone on Instagram. Like, you're messaging hundreds of people a day that respond to you. You're not auto filtering. You're not having your assistant message everybody. You're on that thing every single day, blood, sweat, and tears, making sure that you're creating fans and answering questions and getting students. Talk about how you're hustling hard behind the scenes where no one really sees that.
So the stock market closed about 2.5 hours ago. Right after the market closed, part of the reason why I'm sweating, I just went and worked out because I'm feeling like such great energy after a high today. While I'm working out, I'm answering Instagram messages. I'm on the bike, I'm on the Juliptical, and I'm answering Instagram messages. In an hour of a workout, I only got through the past day of Instagram messages because I'm replying to every single one. And for me, I've tried to hire other people to answer, but I'm this control freak and I want everything precise. And more importantly than the control freak part of it, I want to learn. When I see 20 people asking the same question, I do a video lesson on that. Use social media to adapt, yes, but also to build your next business, to build your next product. Maybe you don't even have a business yet, or you don't have a product. You can just talk with your followers, get in a conversation on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, and start feeling out the market and seeing, wait, 20 people, 50 people, 100 people have this problem. I was very fortunate. I was on a reality show called Wall Street Warriors, which is what got me into trading or into teaching. I was already trading. And because of this stupid TV show, everyone started saying, hey, I want to learn. And that's how I figured out that there was demand for teaching. And then once I realized
you stayed sober on that TV show, right? You stayed sober?
I was drunk as shit. I was drunk in every episode. I wanted to be drunk. My goal was to be the drunk guy who gets a lot of press, and it worked. There was a guy by the name of Puck, who was the big bad guy on The Real World, which was the first reality show, and I was trying to be Puck of finance, and I succeeded. And now I'm a fucking multi-millionaire, Puck, and Puck probably has AIDS and he's homeless. I don't know what he's doing. But what I'm saying is that you need to get attention, and then you need to figure out where you can provide value. For me, it was teaching how to trade penny stocks and not scam people like the Wolf of Wall Street and everybody else before me. Just being honest, even when I make mistakes. Today I made $2,000. I sold before the stock spiked another 50%. I could have made 20 grand. It doesn't matter. I still made 2 grand. I still called it ahead of time. It's okay. We're human. You don't have to be perfect on social media. Everyone thinks, oh, I can never show any like human emotions. I can never show any screw ups. People love screw ups. People love seeing emotions as long as it's real.
Whew, I love it, man. You're on fire. And so what I want to really share with you guys, I don't know if you caught it or not, that is a $1 million nugget. And I told you we're going to bring a lot of nuggets with Tim, especially when he's pulled an all-nighter and he's hyper. He takes consistent feedback from his followers, the people that really have a lot of impact on what they want to learn, and he takes not just feedback, but he creates content for them to answer those questions. That's probably how you've gotten a lot of students, is you show that you care so much when they ask a question, hey, let me give you an actual video about that. They're like, wow, this guy really cares. Most people don't even respond to me when I write them. That's a huge benefit.
Well, you can have any assumption you want on what your audience needs. I've had a lot of failed projects over the years where I'm like, oh, I got to do a podcast. Guess what? Podcasts for the stock market don't work. It's a very visual thing. So that got me into video. So you try different stuff, you test and you see. You get ideas from your audience. You come in with what you think you can provide, and then you refine, you refine, you refine. Remember, you are a scientist if you are working on the internet. This is a brand new field, okay? So we're still trying to figure out different stuff, and there's new breakthroughs every few days. So you have to take advantage of that. You have to have the right mindset that you could literally have a $1 billion company if you work hard enough. That's not to say that it's easy or that it's a given. This is also the most competitive field in the world. And guess what? It's okay if you don't make $1 billion. I know a few billionaires that are weird as fuck. I will never want to be a billionaire, okay? I have a few million in the bank. If I make more, I'm just going to give more away. I don't want to be that weird. I'm already weird enough.
So talking about mindset, What do you think, in your experience working with a lot of entrepreneurs, getting a lot of feedback, answering a lot of questions, observing a lot of people online, do you think the mindset is, or the lack of action is, of what holds most people? We have a lot of six-figure earners that I know that are in my academy that do well, but what do you think holds six-figure earners back from seven figures? And why do you think a lot of people don't reach seven figures in the time of the greatest opportunity on earth, the internet? What do you see that's the problem?
I think it's because they're not adaptable enough. You know, I'm a trader. If I'm in a trade and it's not working out, I'm out. I cut my losses. A lot of other traders stay in it, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. They do it for their own ego. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of six-figure entrepreneurs are all ego. And they say, no, this is the way to do it. I'm going to stick with it. I'm making six figures. I don't need any more. And you have to realize that you can be wiped out tomorrow by thermonuclear war. So it is your duty to try every single strategy. 6, 7, maybe 8 figures. This is like skee ball. Do you ever play skee ball?
Seen it, but no.
So, you know, you have the 200s up on the top and the left, and on the left and the right, and then you have a straight up 20, 30, 40, 50. And it's better to go straight up because then you can go 20, 30, 40, 50. If you go for the hundreds, it's a very long shot. So only idiots go for the hundreds. I always go straight up, so I either hit the 20, 30, 40, 50 every single time. So for me, I want to go with businesses and strategies that give me the best odds of success. I think a lot of people, even if you're not earning six figures, you're going for these pie in the sky things like where you might make $1 billion or 99.9% of the time you're going to fail. And that pretty much is Silicon Valley. For me, I like to go straight up the middle. I don't mind making 6 or 7 figures, but always be trying new strategies. Always be adapting. Look at the customer data. Look at the feedback. Talk with your customers. Don't ignore them. Don't lose track of the people that supply your business. And especially, this is the beauty of being active on social media. I always respond to everybody, and I'm going back and forth. I know it's a lot more work, but this way I keep my eye on the ball. You know, I have like the pulse, and I see what's going on in the market. I never want to make too much money or become so disinterested that I don't care what my customers and my industry is talking about.
So going from 6 to 7 for you, and then 7 to obviously 8 figures, how many, and I want people to understand this, how many iterations, how many different team members have you worked through to find out what the perfect match is for your business? How many different pivots have you made? How many different things have you tried on your way from 0 to 1 million to 10 million to 30 million? How many? Can you even count?
I mean, I've lost track. There's millions of small alterations, a few big ones. Namely, for me, because I trade penny stocks, I can never make $1 billion trading these little stocks. So I had to make the biggest pivot of all, going from just trading to teaching. And a lot of people look down on that. They said, oh, you're either a trader or a teacher. You can't be both. And I was like, why can't I be both? I still trade. I teach with every single trade. It becomes a good example. And now I make money trading. I make 6 figures. I've never actually made 7 figures in any 1 year from trading. I've made 200,000, 100,000, 500,000. I've made 800,000 and 900,000 per year from trading. But I personally have never cracked $1 million in trading. In teaching, I have $1 million weeks now. So you just have to think a little different. I'm still doing the exact same subject, but I approach that subject from a different angle.
So that was
it's also not just about the money. It's also more fulfilling. So I don't want you just thinking about, oh, let me pivot to make more money. Maybe sometimes you might make less money, but it's more fulfilling.
But not just that. So that was a huge pivot for you because it made you more money, like you said, but it also was scalable where you could still travel and have the lifestyle you wanted. So that was a huge pivot for you.
It was, and it was a risky pivot. You know, most people in the hedge fund world, in the trading world, they're like, oh my God, he's sold out. Like everybody who teaches just pitches bullshit and they become a snake oil salesman. And I was like, no, I'm going to be different because everyone thinks like that. All I have to do is be real. I have the easiest job in the world. I'm obviously trying to trade the best I can, but if I have losses, so be it. I talk about it. I don't hide from my losses. You can Google Timothy Sykes' biggest loss, and you'll see a dozen different blog posts and video lessons. People love learning from my losses. And guess what? My losses almost all get paid back for immediately with new customers who see that I'm real. So it's very tough for me to lose as long as I'm real. I'm in a good industry because my industry is full of scammers. So that's another thing. Target industries, sorry, we got alerts going on. This is live, you know, so target industries that have scammers and just be real and take control of it. There's so many scammers out there in so many different industries. They think that's the way to make money. They're small fries. They're thinking
my mind.
they might make a few million. They're not in it for the long term. If you can expose a scammer, if you can do better than the scammer, if you can totally be real, you'll take over their business.
Oh, that's huge. And I see it too, Tim. There's so much fluff out there. One thing that inspired me at a younger age was finding the small 1% of people that actually are authentic, that actually live a great lifestyle, that really make income, that are in the trenches. And that's obviously why I followed you as well. But you're right. There's so many people that if you actually were authentic and real, and you actually weren't a scammer, you could take all those customers because they're going to attract to you because you're actually helping them and you're giving them real value, which is huge. So let me ask you this.
It takes a lot more effort, though, to be real. So
yeah,
you are going to be real. Be prepared to pull all-nighters. Be prepared to do what other people won't do. So it's easier to scam, but there's just no future in it. And as the internet evolves away from just these caveman drawings and these stupid cheetah ears and shit like that, you're going to have to be more and more real, and only the real will survive.
What I've noticed too is, yeah, and I want to hit, and by the way, time-wise, I know we don't have a ton of time, and we both—
I got all the time in the world, buddy.
I love it.
Power.
You plan on
I'm a Jewosaurus.
Do you plan on sleeping at all today, or are you going to keep rolling?
Eventually. I can sleep when I'm dead.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love it, man. I love your energy. I vibe off that. So let me ask you this for people that are going to 10, what if you can really— I know it's hard to quantify and explain, but can you think of any tangible differences? Maybe it's mindset, maybe it's confidence, maybe it's systems, maybe it's team. What's the biggest difference from the 1 to 10 million, like the 7 to 8 figures? Have you kind of thought about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people just go for like these little incremental gains, and they're like, oh, my business has grown, 20, 15, 30%, and I've gone from 3 to 4 million. What can you put in place that can give you exponential returns? So for me, I'll tell you, one of the biggest things is creating software, because I can only do so much. I can make video lessons, I can trade, I can talk with people, but there's no cloning. UN has banned cloning. China's working on cloning, but we're still a few decades away. So I can't clone myself, and there's a lot of danger with that if you saw the movie Multiplicity. So I'm not going to clone myself. So right now I need to build something where I can give more information without my manual labor. And I think a lot of people are in this spot where their business is all based on them. So we created this software called stockstotrade.com. A few of my smarter students got together. We got them together, and we built everything that is based on exactly what I teach, but mechanical and algorithmic. So while I'm sleeping, it's running its little scans. It's finding the exact same stocks. Right now, humans are still better. It hasn't taken over yet, but it's grown the business, and now it's getting better and better, and we hired programmers to make it better. So you need to think about what projects can really take you much bigger. Forget about just small growth. What can, you get taken over? I'm never going to get bought out, because what if I get hit by a bus? What company is going to do that? Obviously, I might be the next Martha Stewart. Okay, so I have a few $100 million that I can make. But a software that runs totally independently of me, that's based on my teachings, that can be worth billions. So think about whatever industry you're in, go exponential, and also think about how it can save you time, and build it in the background. You don't have to focus all your efforts on these new projects. You can try it out, test it out. This has been a 3-year project, and only now is it finally being really, helpful.
So where can I shoot for 5 or 10x growth? Not what most people think. Where can I go for 2x growth? You're thinking about, where can I shoot for 10x growth in my business? How can I scale up and leverage technology? How can I not just duplicate yourself, but create things that give you more time and freedom? I think people need to start thinking this way, especially if they want to get to 7 figures, but of course 8 figures. Now let's talk about your team. How has your team changed from when you're making 6 figures to 7 and 8? Is it pretty nimble right now? Is it big? How big is your team right now? People that are on
right now, we have about 40 employees, and it's grown. It's pretty much doubling every year and a half lately. My parents and I are at the core. It's my mom, dad, and I. We started the business. It's a family business. I like that. I like family. My family had a jewelry store. It's called Sykes Libby Jewelers. It was supposed to be mine. It was since 1880. My great grandfather got it. The day that I got it, I shut it down.
It doesn't surprise me.
I didn't shut it down that day. We actually had a going out of business sale, and we did more in 6 months than we had in the past 6 years. But aside from that, I wanted something that was scalable. The jewelry business, very tough business, very low margins. You have to go in every single day. You have to try to sell people these, luxury goods. They only want to get the cheapest stuff. No one cares about quality. So the price is going down. You're putting in constant work. That's not a good industry. This is the same holds true with the internet. You don't want to get into a business that is totally reliant on you every single day. You don't want to be, like a trainer or a cab driver where, you're getting paid hourly. You could be the best trainer in the world. You could be the best cab driver in the world. There's a limit to how much you can make hourly. So if you're a trainer, create an app, create a video lesson series based on your expertise and sell that. That can grow exponentially. If you're a cab driver or Uber driver, buy other cabs, pool together, and then use, the work of others to build your own wealth. You need to think scalability, not just what you personally can do.
It's a total, and I was very fortunate to learn from the best and have people to really mentor me and help me think that way when I was even 22, 23, because I see so many people go down the wrong path, Tim, and they realize one of their values is flexibility and travel, but what they're actually living doesn't allow them to do that, and they're living incongruently. Then they get 35, 40, 50, 60, regret seeps in, and they resent life. And I don't want that for young millennials. I want them to really think things through. What's most important? How can you build a business on your terms? How can you add value? And how can you do what you love while traveling the world? We both promote that, but people still don't think it's possible.
And hire other people who will complement your own talents. You're not great at everything. So hire people that are better at that stuff. I suck at cooking. So I have a personal chef and I like ordering room service. So I don't waste my time cooking. I can get better at photography. So I'm actually taking a photography class. I feel like I'm wasting all these beautiful places. So some things you can get better at, some things you just outsource and you build your team around you. You have to maximize your time. You have to maximize your money, and you're trying to create, a lean, scalable, efficient organization, no matter what industry you're in. And if you have that mindset, thinking about this in terms of 5, 10, 20 years from now, don't just have a 1 or 2 year plan, okay? How will something play out over 5 or 10 years? And this is why I think school is a total waste of time as it is. You should learn in the real world. You should learn in business. You should learn on social media. Don't waste 5 years at some bullshit university to get some bullshit degree that's not going to really change or help you in the future. I know that there are some industries that are still dependent on the degree and the structure and stuff like that. The industries we're talking about don't require that at all. Some of my millionaire students are dumb as shit, and that's fine. I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not that great at math, but you do learn skills that can grow, that can make you a lot of money, that can give you the life that you deserve. So you don't have to be great at everything. Just focus on what you're really good at, what you really enjoy, and then outsource the rest to others.
So focus on your strengths as well. By the way, I just read a stat from Forbes. There's well over 300,000 waiters and waitresses in the US that have bachelor degrees, which they could have done that before college and not have 40 to 80 grand in debt, which is crazy.
They are very qualified with their orders. They're spelling those entrees perfectly. That's a good talent to have.
Yeah, we could talk about school all day because, oh my gosh, don't even get me started on that. So for you right now, what are some key players? Like what are your top 4 or 5 positions besides your parents that really you depend on, that have a lot of leverage and a lot of influence over your company? Like what are some key players?
My programmers. I don't know programming. I probably should have learned that. That would be a skill. If I could go back in time, I would go learn at Code Academy or something. So my programmers, I'm totally dependent on. My lawyers, I'm hugely dependent on. You have to get your legal stuff straight, okay? And I know that's not fun, but it's a necessity in today's day and age, especially if you're going to get big on the internet. You're going to meet some crazies. I've never been sued, knock on wood, but you just want to be sure to get your legal stuff. So programming, legal, and then also video and editing. I don't know that stuff at all, and I make some homemade stuff. I make some produce stuff. So this is stuff that I need. And then also I have some people who actually help me deal with customer service. I have 4 customer service people. So I'm answering a lot and they send me messages that they can't answer. But a lot of the messages we have, it's the same questions over and over. So don't think that you need to build something and talk to every single person. Most people will have the same questions and you can kind of automate the responses with that. every now and then they'll ask you something different, and that's when you need to take over. So it's kind of like, manual or automatic. You don't want to be all manual. You don't want to be all automatic. A hybrid, I think, is best.
So what's the accountability system and the expectations like with the team? Do you spend a lot of time on the front end making sure it's the right hire and explaining the position and the key result indicators? Do you check in with them every week? It seems like you obviously know how to hire the right people, and you had to go through a lot of obviously ups and downs to figure that out. But what's your process for accountability for each? Do they report to you, or do you just is it the honor system? Because I think a lot of people need to know these things because they don't know how to really manage their team yet.
Yeah, no. So I'm terrible at management, and I've learned that I get too emotional. We've had some employees quit because I come down too hard on them. So I don't even talk to most employees anymore. We've taken me out of the loop. My dad handles that. He's much more, even keeled. And so he's kind of the COO. But for me, the beautiful thing is because I'm so passionate as a teacher and so real, and I talk with everybody, people come to me. All my programmers were actually students of mine, and they said, hey, I see your stuff is real. I want to work with you. I had one programmer, my first programmer, Darsh, used to work for penny stock promoters. And he was like, oh man, I'm getting all these emails from people who got scammed on penny stocks. Yeah. You're teaching people the real stuff. I want to work for you. So he was my first hire, and I didn't pay him anything. He just wanted a profit share. Then I had another guy who came with my newsletter, Mike Mosseri, who's my co-founder of Profitly. And he's tried out 12 different newsletters. And he's like, out of 12 newsletters, yours was the only one that worked. So I want to work with you. So I didn't pay him at first again. We had a profit sharing agreement. Dustin, my graphics guy, also was a student. And he's like, hey, I'm making money using your strategy. I want to work for you. So being real and talking with your clients and then seeing how you can potentially work with them, it's actually a fantastic way. I deal with all of them, personally, because they're my students and I feel a bond and they know that I'm real and they help feed my ego because I need more ego praise. But, you figure out what you're good at. And I figured out that I'm actually not that good at hiring or managing. So I gave that to my dad, who previously, focused more on financial matters. Now he's focused on hiring, and he actually is better at dealing with new students. I get too fed up with new students. I'm like, watch this, here are all the lessons. My dad actually talks to every single new challenge student, and he helps them get acquainted with the site. He's much more patient than I am. So you try different roles.
There's a big lesson in that, though. You're not good, and maybe you could be good, but you don't want to go down that route.
I don't have time.
Exactly.
I don't have time to go down that route. Like, I don't have time to learn a fucking patience class, and I don't want to. I don't want to change my personality, and my dad is fantastic at it. So we have people that can fill that role. I do wish that I learned programming, because then I wouldn't be so dependent on my programmers, but I'm busy now. So then you have to weigh your own personal time. Elon Musk divides up his day into 5-minute increments. Like, this is how busy you can possibly get. I'm not down to 5-minute increments, but I'm definitely down to like 20 or 30-minute increments, and I don't have a second to waste.
Okay, so people think, because they watch sometimes your Instagram, your lifestyle, man, Tim is just traveling, and they think the same thing sometimes with me, Tim, because I travel quite a bit. Man, he's just traveling all the time. I put in work. I have 16, 17, 18-hour days sometimes. So for you just said it, you're working a lot on things that you love, but where right now is your time allocated? Like, where's the majority of your time spent, and how do you allocate the 30 minutes? Is it like, okay, Monday, Tuesday is this, or is it just all meshed together, or have you really strategically mapped that out?
Yeah, I mean, it's more of an art form than an exact science. It depends on when there's a hot stock. Like today, there was a hot stock. I didn't plan on pulling an all-nighter, but I didn't have a choice because I had a hot stock. I picked it. Everyone's going crazy. They're like, how did you know? How'd you know? So I had to make 2 video lessons. I had to write a blog post. I had to take advantage of it. I don't like wasting opportunities. Sometimes there's no stocks in play. Maybe I'll focus on a future project. I have a few books. I have a few, key blog posts that are taking longer. I have some DVDs that I'm working on. So I have short-term projects, real-time projects, long-term projects, and I try and do the best I can. I'm falling actually behind because the stock market has been so hot. I've been praying for like a stock market crash, which hasn't happened in 8 years. I'm like, give me a day off. Give me a week off. I don't need this many opportunities. But the market keeps going higher, and even when the market's not going higher, there's a hot stock. So I try and take advantage of what I can. But yeah, I'm working 14, 16, 18 hours a day, and I love it. That's why you have to choose something that you love, because if you're looking at the clock all the time and you're like, oh, another hour and you're trying to think about how much you're getting paid per hour, like just throw in the towel. You're done.
You're Jewish. You love opportunities.
I do. I love money. I love opportunities. I love making Jewish jokes. I love offending people who get offended by my Jewish jokes. It's all in one.
Oh man, that's hilarious. I love it. So I want to talk about this, then we'll let you go. Cause I think there's been some massive value. And one thing I pride myself in, and I'm noticing more with you and studying all your content and seeing how much is out there. I take pride in giving better free content than most people pay thousands for. I've paid a lot for personal growth, and 90% of it does not actually get me real results. So I love that this interview, I think, is more valuable than a lot of things that people are paying for out there. So thank you for bringing that value.
I love free stuff. It shows that I'm real. It shows who I am. I obviously love the stuff that I'm talking about. Like I'm not like checking my watch. I already threw it over there. You know, I'm enjoying this. I like talking. I like giving back. If you go to my YouTube channel, I have 800 free videos. If you go to timothysykes.com, I have 8,000 blog posts. You can't get me to shut up. You have to pay me to shut up. So when you have passion for your job and your industry and you know what you're talking about can help people, it's tough to hold it in. Like it's tough thinking about, if I don't say the next sentence, how many people won't be helped? Like I need to do this for them, and then it makes me feel good. It makes me feel useful too, even if they're not paying me anything. Like I have a lot of people who just learn. I had this one guy, beautiful story, one of my favorite stories. Before one of my conferences, he couldn't afford a ticket to my conference, but he knew where it was. He met me in the lobby, and he had like tears in his eyes. And I was like, "What's wrong, man? Are you okay?" And he's like, "Last year at this time, I was homeless. Right now, I still can't afford to come to your conference, but I'm not homeless anymore thanks to your strategies." And I was like, I teared up, and he was so heartfelt, and it was beautiful. All he did was watch my YouTube videos, and it had changed. You know, again, he had made a few $1,000s, nothing in the grand scheme of things, but he wasn't homeless anymore because of me. And that made me feel incredible. And, you know, if it's selfish, fine, I'm selfish. You know, giving to charity, giving $1 million, all the praise I got, it felt good. Not even the praise, just meeting the families and the villages and the communities that this money was helping. That felt good. So I am a big believer in doing what makes you feel good as long as it helps other people. You know, some people are like, "Oh, Tim, you shouldn't post about your charity. Just give it, you know, in secret." And I'm like, I want to give the charity exposure. I'm proud of it. I want to talk about it. I'm fully transparent. I show all my donations. I show all my trades. I show all my losses. I love my fucking life. And I want to share every single aspect with everybody. And I'm proud of it. So no, I won't be quiet. I won't be an introvert. I won't be weird. I won't be classy. I'm going to be loud. I'm going to be obnoxious. All you have to do is click the motherfucking unfollow button if you don't like it. No one's forcing you to follow me. But if you do follow me, expect everything.
I've never seen you in a suit.
I don't own a suit. I actually had to buy a suit for my buddy's wedding a few weeks ago. And I was like,
I had suits, but I got rid of them all. I love it, man. That's all. And to be honest, I'll tell you, I tell millennials this too. There is way too many opinions. Like for someone even to have the balls to say, "Hey, Tim, you shouldn't post about your charity." That shows sometimes how sad a lot of our society is. And what I used to say too is you'll never meet a successful hater. A lot of people that hate, they're the ones that are broke or bitter or frustrated, or you bring out their insecurities because you're actually doing well and they want to pull you to their level. So it's good that you actually address the haters and actually, because have you ever had someone extremely successful hate? Not really. It's usually people that aren't happy with their lives. You know what I mean? So you have to shift their.
I get a lot of broke trolls, and you know, I'm showing off my Lambo. I got $1 million in cash on my bed. I would hate me if I wasn't me. The good news is you can learn to get this. So it's not like I'm just showing you this like a trust fund baby who didn't earn it. I earned every single dollar. I'm grateful for every single dollar. I'm grateful for everything that I've earned, but at the same time, I'm very proud of it too. And people do get offended by my Jewish hashtags, you know, at the end of my Instagram. I'm like, what are you getting angry at? Like it's a hashtag. It's not even a real thing. And so I always respond. They're like, "Don't you realize how offensive it is?" And I'm like, "You know it." And I always try and take it to the next level, and I piss them off even more. And maybe that's a little immature, but it's fun. That's my entertainment.
I might butcher this, but didn't some celebrities steal your cash picture and say it was theirs, like The Game and some other people, or is that wrong?
So this was my single most successful marketing, totally inadvertent, but The Game, the musician, and Little Bow Wow both stole my cash pictures. And I created a little sensation just because it was fun. And I was like, hey, little bow wow, if you actually learn to trade stocks, you wouldn't have to steal other people's cash. Your music obviously isn't doing that well anymore. Let me teach you, signed Little Juju. And he didn't like that. And he told all of his followers to attack me. And I was kind of scared because he has like 4 million followers. And then I got like 300,000 followers from it because my photos and content is better than him. He was good back in the 90s, but he hasn't had anything.
Wow, that's hilarious.
I had to apologize to the game. He's like a gangbanger. You don't want to mess with him. But he stole my cash photo too. And I'm sorry, the game. I didn't mean to blow it up. I didn't know that TMZ would cover it. Lo siento, mi mal.
Oh, I mean, when I saw that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. And the thing is, you have the balls and you have the confidence to call people out versus like, oh, it's okay. You don't want to let people slide. You know what I mean?
Because well, it's, it is kind of a dick thing to do. But at the same time, I've gone to the bank to get this money. Like, it's not easy to get $1 million out of the bank. I don't just have cash on me. I go to the bank. Business Insider followed me to the bank when I withdrew 1.2 million one time. The bank doesn't even let me do this anymore. They're like, it's too great of a security risk. But my dad and I used to go there, and we got it out like in backpacks, and we're walking around Times Square. He's like, let's go back to the hotel. And I was like, no one knows what's in our backpacks. We're walking around Times Square with 1.2 million in cash, and it felt very freeing. But again, we can't do this anymore, so it's kind of sad. The days of the big cash are over. The banks don't like it.
So if you guys see Tim with a backpack, I promise there's no cash in it.
There's really not. It's sad. It would have been fun to keep doing this and go bigger. Like, I wanted to take out 2 or 3 or 5 million, but it got shut down too early. It was a good idea though. That went viral.
Are you in real estate? Like, where are you diversifying your money? Is it like this is a side note, but what are you investing in? Do you like to diversify stocks? Is it obviously you're doing penny stocks?
So I trade with a small account. I have a few investments like in hedge funds. I'm mostly just liquid cash. I own a little real estate in Miami. I don't really like, investing big in illiquid things, especially after this 8-year bull run in real estate. I would love there to be a crash. I really want there to be a crash, in the stock market and real estate, because I'm flush and I would just, eat everything like a Jewish Godzilla. But there's no crash happening yet, no matter how much I want it to. So I'm just sitting and staying liquid.
Oh, man, I love it. So last thing, man, I want to share how your perspective of money has changed to what real fulfillment is to you, to what real purpose is to you. Because obviously when you were younger, 24, 25, 27, 28, maybe you thought money was everything. And was there a defining moment? Was there something that shifted your perspective? Was it a moment where you're like, wow, these cars aren't that exciting anymore? Like, can you share with people where the perspective shift was and what it is now compared to what it was 10 years ago?
Yeah, I've had a few perspective shifts. When I made my first $100,000 profit day as a freshman in college, and I took my whole dorm out to dinner, and I was like, I just made 6 figures in one day. This is fucked up. That was cool. That was an upshift in helping me realize the potential of my strategy. But then, once I actually had a few $1 million, I didn't get my Lamborghini until like year 10 of my journey because I didn't want to take any money out of my accounts. If you take money out of your accounts, you have to trade smaller. So in the beginning, I wanted to trade with more and more and keep pushing it. I only got the Lamborghini after a decade of hard work. The Lamborghini was fun. Then the Ferrari, it was a little less fun. Now I'm on my second Lamborghini. It's even less fun. So you have diminishing returns with these luxury goods. I had a mansion. There was tons of problems with it. I never want a giant mansion again. I was in Japan one time. Actually, all good stuff seems to happen when I'm in Japan, good and bad. And an air conditioner coil broke in the mansion, and my whole living room was flooded. And I started getting all these calls from different people. And I was like, I'm in Japan. What do you want me to do? So I had to manage it from overseas. That was a mess. I never want that. You have house managers. I guess you could do that. But I travel so much. I live out of hotels. I don't need all that. So you learn what you need, and you learn what makes you happy, and you learn what makes you unhappy. You think that the cars and the mansions and the private jets are going to make you so happy. I was on a yacht a few weeks ago. It was terrible. I felt nauseous every single second. I never want to own a yacht. So all this high price stuff that you think that you want in life, when you actually get there, you might not like it. And then a lot of people I know get depressed because they're like, wait a minute, all the stuff I've been striving for doesn't make me happy. Life is meaningless. You have to then look into yourself and see what can make you happy. And for me, teaching was already there. And then combining teaching with charity was the key for true fulfillment. When I visit these communities in Laos and, Guatemala and Cambodia. In Cambodia, there's a video of me literally high-fiving 1,000 kids. I went down, like the Timothy Sykes Center was opening, and I'm just high-fiving them all. And it was one of the best moments. I did a victory lap. I'm like, I got to do it again. And that was awesome. And that was better than any exotic car or high-priced real estate. So you have to find what makes you happy. And it might not be what you thought it was at the beginning. That doesn't mean that your journey wasn't worth it. It just means that you have to adapt. I'm kind of lucky that I'm a trader and I've, built in adaptation into who I am. A lot of people can't deal with that. If they have one dream, it's either make it or break it. And if that dream doesn't come true, or if that dream doesn't make them happy, then their world is crushed. You have to adapt. You have to go with the flow. You have to, dance like Drake and just be cool.
Do you have your Hotline Bling dance? Let's see it.
I got that hotline. I can't dance. Come on, Jews can't dance. We keep it very simple. You go a little here, a little there. That's
Simplicity is key, though. In business and dancing.
Snap the finger. That's it. Yeah, a little arrow point. That's all you got. Don't try for any more.
My team's going to add some Drake.
I'm not African American. I know my limitations. This is why we don't play in the NFL. There's no Jews in the NFL.
Oh, that's funny. So I've been wanting to ask you this, aside from business. We're going to start traveling, me and my wife, a lot more as well. And I love seeing new places. What would you say? And you maybe have done blogs, and I could check them out, and I could share people. I could tag them below. What are your top 3 to 5 places to travel as far as just atmosphere goes, ambiance, culture? Like, what are your top 5 in no order?
I get this question a lot. So I break it down a little more. So for adventure, I'm a big fan of Cuba, Greece, Italy, Japan, Thailand, and South Africa. For food, I'm all about Italy and Japan. For culture, I like, Cambodia. The Philippines is my all-time favorite for culture. The Filipinos are the nicest people in the world. Wow. I love Brazil. I love, for relaxation, I go to the Caribbean. I'm more Turks and Caicos, Aruba, Jamaica even, that kind of thing. So there's different amounts. When you have your wife, I would highly recommend Turks and Caicos. It's the perfect beaches, excellent food, very romantic, very relaxed. And Aruba is good too, but it's a little more commercialized.
Love it, man. Yeah, and I like that you have different departments of it's like relaxation and food and culture. I don't think people travel as much as you do. So
I've gotten this down to a science. There's a reason why I keep returning to Japan because I love sushi, I love the people, but it's so different. If you're in Kyoto where I was before, I was literally staying in the place where samurai used to stay 300 years ago, and they haven't changed. It's the same family, and you get like your person who helps you, and she gave me a scalp massage. Like, I was stressed out. I had a trade, so she's like, "Oh, let me give you a scalp massage." I was like, "That actually is amazing." So that happens.
I was hoping you'd have your what'd you have on, a robe? You had your.
I had a samurai robe last time. No, Tokyo is very different. Tokyo is very modern. There's a million stuff going on at all hours. Like even right now at 8 in the morning, I mean, the city is bustling. So it's kind of cool.
That's amazing, man. Well, hey, I want to once again thank you and appreciate you for just being you. I think the world needs more people like you that are being fully authentic. And I appreciate and respect you because you're not just a world-class businessman. You're a world-class human being. Family, success, giving back, influence, consistency. You're a hustler. So, man, I'm learning from you every day. So I appreciate you and what you stand for. And I'm excited to see what you do the next 5 or 10 years, man.
Thank you. Sammy Sosa. No steroids, but you got that. No, I appreciate it. I try and be as helpful as possible. You take it or leave it. I'm not going to change. I'm loving life. I'm going to just try and do my best every day.
Love it, man. I appreciate you. We're going to link your stuff below. Follow him on Instagram, by the way. And obviously, you said it last time. If they can't find you, you don't want them to find you, right?
I don't want any more inept people. I'm sorry. I deal with so many stupid people. If you're stupid, don't contact me. I'm just going to offend you.
Oh, that's funny. So Timothy Sykes, he has a great website, a lot of content. I would absorb as much as you can. Once again, man, appreciate you. Much respect. And we need to travel sometime together. I need to either go see you or wherever you are for like a long time. You might be
scared at what I do. I take travel. Travel for me is a business. It's not just posting stuff on social media. And when you say you're working 18 hours a day, like I'm responding to people, but I'm also planning like my own fireworks. I do crazy shit and I try and get the locals involved and I try and just be as extreme as possible. So be careful.
You got to get more of that on video. Oh, I'm excited, man. I can handle it. I'm excited to see what you can bring to the table and spice up my life.
Cool. Let's do it, man.
All right, man. Talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
Konnichiwa.